Hello and welcome to another episode of The Wave, the wonderful Alberni Valley experience. I'm your host, Don Tecson, and I have a very special and fun guest tonight, or today, because I didn't really know what time you're going to be watching this video. But nevertheless, I have a wonderful guest who's become my friend and is one of the notable florists here in Port Alberni. And he's here today to share with us his wonderful Alberni Valley experience, which actually began in 2010, but actually was completed in 2012. We'll get into more detail as I introduce to you Mr. Lyndon Cassell. Welcome to the show, Lyndon, finally.
John, how you doing, buddy?
I am good.
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to shave. I forgot we were doing television today.
No, you got the perfect, we got how many days to Christmas? You got,
Oh.
you're way ahead.
6 months
Or we could say this is in relation to Lord of the Rings or
beer. Is that liquor? Is that like something that I should have as well?
And no, it's just I'm pretending. I never drink liquor from a drinking goblet. It has to be a wine glass. And this is not a wine glass. This is a goblet. And I'm drinking watermelon juice.
Well, okay. I got nothing.
Because it's so hot today. I don't know. I have to ask Google what's the temperature today. But it's so hot. It feels like summer is already full on.
Yeah, it is for a couple days, I guess. Take advantage of it.
Yeah. I was going to introduce you as the elusive Lyndon Cassell because I've been trying to get to interview you, and we keep on remixing the schedule or rescheduling or conflict of schedule. But finally, I have you. So you are going to tell us about your wonderful Alberni Valley experience, which started in 2010, as you once told me before we started the interview. So could you tell us about that?
In 2010.
First time in Port Alberni, 2010, right?
I came to, May the 1st, I packed up my house in Winnipeg. No, Calgary first. And came out here for a 6-month house swap for a laugh. And what had happened was I kind of knew right away that I wanted to move here. I knew I got off the boat in Nanaimo. And then after floating around with my camera for a while, I got asked if I could shoot some photos on the weekends for the now defunct Alberni Valley Times. So that allowed me to go around to a lot of cool events and meet a lot of different people. And I knew that I got to go back to Calgary, sell my house and move here. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got here, but I knew I was going to just move here. So I went back to Calgary, put my house on the market, took a job in Okotoks back in software development, which is what I do or used to do. And when the house sold, I ended up back here 2 years later in May again.
Oh, wow.
With my RV, my Winnebago that I lived in for the summer of 2011 because I loved it so much.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I just caught a thing that you said right now. You said you saw something or you felt something that attracted you to want you to come back, made you want to come back. So what was that?
Just instinct. Just I guess, where I'm from, Newfoundland, it being an island, and the way this town feels to me, atmosphere and culture and all that, it felt like just like going home.
Okay.
Except it's a bit warmer here, and I don't have worried about like going to Newfoundland and shoveling snow because it doesn't snow here.
Well, it does a little bit. When we have snow, we have snow. But we don't have snow, we don't have snow. And it's wonderful. All part of the wonderful Alberni Valley experience. So backtracking a little bit, you were born in Newfoundland, and then you moved to Calgary, I guess.
Born in a dory. My mom was cod fishing. I was born in a dory up in Grossmore National Park. That's
In
why
Newfoundland.
I go with it for fun.
Okay, so when, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, when did you escape from Newfoundland?
Many times. I went to Toronto when I got out of university for a while. Then I went back to university again in St. John's. I did most of my studies at Memorial University in Newfoundland. I got into television there at the same time because the university had an educational television show or studio. So I got a lot of fun gigs going around the island with them. And then I got into computers and I ended up in Halifax, then I ended up in Toronto, then I ended up back in Newfoundland. Then I got a job in Calgary, and that was the beginning of the West Coast for me, or the West. And
Okay.
Look
So
back.
you ended up in Calgary, then you came to the Vancouver Island.
I moved to Calgary in 2001.
Okay,
Yeah, got a job with an engineering firm, and
I see.
they actually flew me from St. John's to Calgary, and I'm going, where in the name of God am I at now? This is so flat and so
Flat.
damn cold.
Is is Calgary flat? I had no idea. I have
Yeah,
never been there. Oh, I've been there while just in passing
yeah,
because I took a bus from Toronto to Vancouver. That was 3 days,
okay.
and we did stop in Calgary, but we were in the bus, so I didn't really see much of Calgary at the time.
Versus here, it's flat.
Okay.
It's flat, flat, flat.
How about Newfoundland? Is Newfoundland flat?
Newfoundland is like Canada. It's got a flat part, it's got a hilly part, and then it's got a I don't know what I am part, which is what we call Central Canada. We don't know what that is.
Okay. And so you came to Port Alberni in 2010 in May,
Yeah,
and there was just this feeling, this attraction, this gut instinct that you had to come back.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just felt like home. And I had spent many years in big cities, so the ability to be able to get out of the big cities after I don't know 20 years or roughly, um, yeah, it was just time to get out. And this felt like I can't go any further west and be in Canada, so why not? Now here
Well, from
I,
what I heard or learned recently, um, Port Alberni is technically not Canada because we are an unceded territory.
okay, then I better go live in Vancouver then.
But it is a wonderful place to be in,
Well,
but still be part of Canada. But
technically,
technically, we're not in Canada.
technically, Newfoundland is not a part of Canada. It was a setup, and the vote was no, but they said it was yes because they wanted our they wanted our fish. They stole our fish. Then they ruined the province. Thank you, federal government.
Okay, we're not going to get into that. Just
Yeah,
were
don't
they
look
building
here.
a pipeline? Not
We
yet.
have time if I get into that. Stole our fish.
Well, anyways, so you 2010 was just temporary, I guess, but you moved permanently to here to Port Alberni, the wonderful Alberni Valley, in 2012.
Yeah.
But you were sort of like absentee resident because you had to go to Calgary again.
No, I was here for 2 weeks, and I got a phone call from Hewlett Packard wondering if I would do some contract work in Winnipeg.
Oh, in Winnipeg this time.
So it was for 8 months. So to me, it was like, well, I just got here. I'm pretty broke already. I am, but I'm not. So I might as well go away for a while until we settle in here,
Hmm.
figure out how this is going to work. So I went there, and then my 8 months were up, and then they extended it for another year. So I said, yeah, why not? And then eventually we found a house or bought one in 2014, I think it was. So I stayed in Winnipeg to finish that contract, which ended in February 2015. And then I
Okay.
flew back here, fly, wee, and I was hanging out, and then went down on the harbor one night, and one of the places on the harbor was one of the units next to Carmen's Sugar Shack. Yay,
Hmm.
Sugar Shack! And
My favorite.
yep, and it was for sale or rent. And I looked at Pam and I said, "You think we could put a flower shop in there?" And that was it. That was the beginning
Okay.
of the flower
Oh
shop.
yeah. Now I come to the flower shop. Why a flower shop?
Why not?
Was that your thing back then, or was it
Oh, oh,
the flower
absolutely.
shop just become a thing when you came here to Port Alberni?
100% honest. The only thing I knew about flowers is that roses were nice. I didn't know what alstroemeria was or any of this other stuff. Um, I just needed to do something completely different. I needed to get away from computers and technology. Uh,
Okay, so that was your background, was computers and technology and Hewlett Packard and that's
yeah,
television,
engineering, blah, 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 television, blah, 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 all kinds of
all
things. I just
Techie stuff. So techie stuff.
yeah. So the idea of the flower shop was that I knew Pam was a florist.
Okay.
You know, I asked her a couple times, "Do you make flowers?" And she said something like, "I think so." And then I want to start my own business. Because if I got to live here and keep going away to do technology, because I know I'm not going to do that here really, um, then I'd be gone all the time. So I figured, let's just start a business, no one doing what you can do, because she can, and I can do the business side of it. Whatever that means, I don't know yet. I'm still figuring that out.
Oh, yes, you do.
And see what happens. So we got a unit down on Lower Argyle and opened up May again. Everything is May.
Well, yeah. Wait, your birthday in May?
5 years ago, May, we did
Okay.
azalea flowers and gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you were here where the post office used to be, wasn't it?
actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of funny because everyone would come in all the time to drop off mail, and they'd stop dead in their tracks and look around and go, "I don't think this is a post office anymore." And I'd say, "Nope, want to buy some flowers?"
Well, you got a head start.
So
Okay, so you got into flower shop business. Why the word azalea? What inspired that name?
um, we we this was just before like Google and all of these big search engines made it very easy to find a business. So we were thinking um, that we needed to be technically available through the internet, but how do we get to be number one? If you're
Oh, alphabetical, of course.
medical. So we were thinking like the phone book and things like that. We're thinking old and new. So azalea being a plant slash flower, it kind of made sense. And because it's the Alberni Valley, it just felt right.
Oh
A,
yeah, perfect. Double A,
exactly. Triple A.
triple A.
Okay, outdoors too, right? Which is a sport.
Uh-huh. So
So
that started what year? 2014,
May,
2015?
May the 1st, 2015, we opened,
Oh, wow, cool.
which
And a
made
month after that, in June, I came here in 2015.
it go.
Were
Welcome to
you
the club.
still there then in 2015 in that old location?
Yep, we moved over here on Adelaide, which is where I am right now.
Another A.
Me. Uh, January the 1st, 2018, so 2 years ago.
Oh, you broke the May pattern.
Oh, we did, but we still ended up with an A because we were on Argyle, which begins with an A, and now
Uh-huh.
we're in Adelaide, which begins with an A.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. No, what
we
I'm saying is the timeline. Every move was in May.
I know, hey? Crazy.
Does anybody, are you and Pam or anybody in your family have a birthday in May or an anniversary in May or an event in May?
Pam's birthday's in May. No, that's a lie. It's in April. So,
Close
no.
enough. You're hilarious.
The only thing I know about May is isn't there something about Mayflowers?
Oh yeah, that's right. Mayflowers.
Oh,
May the force be with you.
May the force be with my flower shop.
Exactly. And it looks like it is because you are a very notable flower shop. I mean, everybody knows about azalea flowers. When you talk flowers, the first thing that comes to mind is azalea. Actually, in my case, the only flower shop I am aware of is azalea flowers. I don't know. I know there's another flower shop somewhere in town, but I am not aware of them. Anyways, so you're into the flower shop. You used to be more or less the techie guy. You did dabble in filmmaking and TV production for a
Yeah,
while, as you were telling me, and you produced a documentary or a film.
I produced a lot of documentaries and a lot of films. I started filmmaking.
This was when you were in Calgary.
Yeah, when I was in Calgary, they used to call what was it? The Godfather of independent filmmaking is what they used to call me.
Really?
By the time I would finish one film, I'd have another one that I would start shooting, and I just kept going and going and going. I was really big into like Super 8. I did a couple of digital, but I'm a film person, so I shot a lot in Super 8 and 16 millimeter, Super 16. Now just for the average person, Super 16 is really where a lot of TV shows are shot with. Like
Back in the day.
most, yeah, even today, some of it is using digital, like the Red camera. But most TV shows are shot on Super 16 film. Most people
Okay,
like.
now that I know that you're into the flower shop, but you're also into photography really well and really big time. I know that for a fact because, well, that is no small time camera.
Got a big lens, buddy.
Oh my God. Can you get the craters in the moon from there?
Not with that one. I've got another one. Yeah, I guess I could. I got a really good friend of mine right here in town who's big into astronomy and things like that. So to hook that up to his telescope and punch right in would be easy.
So, do I take it that you still dabble in filmmaking or just photography for now?
I stick with photography because one thing I learned about making films, like when I was in Calgary as an example, is that it's very expensive. And I went through a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money making short films.
Oh,
A lot of money. It was fun, but whatever. Money's gone.
yeah, well, you had your fun. At least you had fun with the money. Would you be interested to be, because I think now they don't call it filmmakers anymore nowadays.
Oh,
Nowadays, in this day and age, they call it content producers.
oh, I see.
On YouTube. So people make a lot of money. Some people don't, some people do, but they're called content producers. And these, the content producers come a dime a dozen. But once you learn to find your niche and your demographic and all that stuff, and I'm sure you're aware of the marketing stuff and everything. But once you find that focus thing or that group or the target market, then you can become a successful content producer. And we will talk about that in another interview. Anyway,
You'll follow up.
so to find you are online to find Azalea Flowers. We can go online. Is there a Facebook page or a website?
Both. There's a Facebook page at Azalea Flowers and Gifts, and
Mm-hmm.
the website, which is azaleaflowers.ca.
Okay. And then for your photography,
You can find on Facebook Lyndon Cassell Photography or at
okay.
Vanland. Like if you use the at symbol to do a search, you'd find New Vanland,
Oh, okay.
the photography.
What about Instagram? Are you the guy who does Port Alberni something?
No,
What's your hashtag on Instagram?
I've got an Instagram account called Azalea Flowers PA.
Oh, okay.
I was too stupid to do PA Azalea Flowers.
No, man. Alphabetically, it makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. We'll go with that. Alphabetically, it makes
Yeah, it
perfect.
makes sense. Azalea Flowers PA or whatever.
So yeah, we're on Instagram, and I'm starting to use it a lot more this week and last week, and I'm going to not because I want to, because I really don't like Instagram personally. I don't see any value in it. I don't want to look at just photos. It doesn't tell me anything. However, we are getting more and more into tropical house plants, and I
Mm-hmm.
want that to be a very thriving business, no pun intended. And I recognize that there's a lot of people who are into houseplants, so on and so forth, in the Instagram world. So I've got
Yes.
just cover my bases. I was there for a while, but then I didn't really like Instagram, and to me it was like too much noise, so I stayed away. But now I realize I just got to use it for plants and let people know I've got plants,
Mm-hmm.
house plants.
Well, Instagram also have this 1 minute video thing. You can do a 1 minute video on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah,
Because my friend Gail, who has her business as well, uses that to promote her fashion stuff.
yeah, yeah. The problem with me in video is that I don't have a cell phone, and
You don't?
everybody
Are
uses
you
cell
serious?
phone.
You do not have a cell phone.
I
Okay.
got my cell phone 3 or 4 years ago. Once again, it's just a nuisance, and I don't need it because when I leave here and I'm with my best friend, so to speak, the last
Mm-hmm.
thing I want is to be running Where's the effing phone? Who's calling me now? Kind of thing,
Well, you can
right?
put it on mute.
I like to keep some old-fashioned traditions with me, considering I'm not a young man anymore. And I mean, I grew up without cell phones, and it's like, if you wanted to talk to me, you either ran downtown and found me, or you waited for me to go home to get the message. You called for me. So
Hmm.
I still like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not being tracked 24/7.
Yeah, and you do it. Yeah, I know. I have a couple of friends who share the same sentiment, and sometimes I am inclined, but I'm so used to my cell phone already. Like, it's
Yeah.
with me 24/7, but I do mute it when I go to bed.
And I mean, I must admit, like when I was in Winnipeg, I had my cell phone with me and the whole 9 yards, and it was a great thing to have. But now that I'm here, I just don't want it.
Hmm.
Want to be tracked 24/7.
Okay, but at least you're on Facebook, so I can get a hold of you through Facebook and Facebook Messenger.
Speaking of not being tracked, hey, I'm like on Facebook all the time. So
No, because you access your Facebook through your laptop or
at my
computer,
it's for
which you
business.
carry around with you like a cell phone.
No, no, it's yeah. So yeah, which is funny because some people will say, uh, make comments about, okay, let me know when you're here and there, and I'm like going, I can't. Like I'm not driving back to my laptop to tell you I'm here. If that makes
Okay, so as far as the location is concerned with the wonderful Alberni Valley experience that you're having a blast, you're happy, your business is thriving. What about, yeah,
sense.
the people? What about the community? What have you to say about the community in relation to your wonderful Alberni Valley experience?
Um, I don't know what to say about this community because there's so many great things to say that it's all been said. The community with the heart, special people, any people who do anything for anybody, kind of thing, right? And I kind of recognize that's because of its history in the forestry industry, and this place was just thriving, and everybody was excited and did a lot of things. Now that that's kind of gone by the wayside, all of these traditions are still here. Like there's so many events that occur in this town. And some of these events are for fundraisers and charities, and others are for the community. And that's like, I mean, I've lived in big cities. I've never seen so many events in my life as happens here, you know, that are huge and world class and so on. So kudos.
Well, yeah, I was just interviewing Pastor Minnie Harnage before you earlier today, and she came up with this term that really sort of like stuck to my mind. She says it's a community remarkable, with a remarkable, generous heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, I can't imagine being somewhere else. I mean, I guess it's because of the size of the community. Now, I'm curious to hear from you about how you react to people who say bad things about Port Alberni. What would you say to them? Like, it's been said that, oh, Port Alberni is the worst place to live in the whole of Canada. It is the armpit of Vancouver Island, and this and that. What would you say to that?
I'm not going to say that I disagree with them, even though I do. I don't know their background. So I don't know what makes a person feel that something is bad. I didn't grow up here. I don't know their environment. They may have something in their environment and their history that makes this place bad. But then again, you're going to get that wherever you go,
That's true.
right? So I don't judge people for.
Okay, so let's balance it off then. What would you say as a good thing about Port Alberni that resonates with you personally as your wonderful Alberni Valley experience? So the people, the vibe.
Come back. I'm here now. You influence here now. We'll have a drink together, bye, and I'll make you like this place again.
So, according to your story, you were here permanently in 2014. It's now 2020. So, it has been 6 years
Yeah.
and running of your wonderful Alberni Valley experience, and you've seen events. So, what are some of the memorable events that have resonated with you? Like, I know you covered the Ty Watson Gala. That's one event that we are proud of.
Yeah, and I actually shot the Ty Watson Gala in someone's backyard in 2010 for the newspaper, and I got like, I think on my website, there's a lot of photos. My most memorable experiences, plural, outside of going around for the AV Times was um, my trips to McLean Mill on the train and just driving out there. That in itself was just like, wow, cool, very cool. Um, but the one that really sticks to my mind was Thunder in the Valley out at the
Oh,
in 2010. Um, I had just met Bill Surrey only a few months earlier, and he was explaining it to me, and I said, "Wow, I want to go out." And he was gracious enough to let me go out there as a photographer, and I even set up a tent, and I had printers, and we were shooting photos. I was right there on the track, and I had my drums blowed out 1,000 times, and just to be that close to something um, that I've never seen before in my life. I mean, I've seen horses run down the road at full speed, but to see these cars at the speeds they were going and know that that happens here in this town, yeah, that
every
was
year,
every year except the last couple of
except
years.
for the COVID. Oh no, the Thunder in the Valley got canceled because of some reason, like political or whatever.
Yeah,
But that was before COVID. They had to cancel it because of a dispute on land or stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. So,
Hmm.
I mean, when I look at the things that I've never seen before,
Hmm.
taking place in a steam train. I've seen steam trains, but I've never seen one actually run. And and the history of the mill out there. I mean, I'm from Newfoundland. There's a lot. I'm from a mill town. So there's a lot of like things that remind me of home. So I've always felt like this is home.
Yeah, it's funny that you should point out two events that are really wonderful that don't exist anymore. The steam train has been stopped, and the Thunder Valley has been stopped
I
even
know.
before COVID.
But I mean, the fall fair is also a huge one for me. Love it. The Salmon Festival is pretty big with me as well. The toy run. Wow. I mean, how can you beat that, right? I was mesmerized the first time I went down on the harbor in 2010 with my camera and watched all these bikes coming by me. I'm like, oh, my finger hurts from shooting so many photos. Great, now I got to go look at all of these. I still have them there to look at.
That's true. And you mentioned the mill. You were at one point involved with something that was going on in the mill, the Historic Society or something?
I used to be on the board of directors for a while. Um,
Board of directors of what organization again?
McLean Mill Society.
McLean Mill Society. Yeah, because McLean Mill is sort of like a historic tourist attraction here in Port Alberni.
It's designated a national historic site.
Okay, yes. So, what was that like for you in relation to your part of your wonderful Alberni Valley experience, being part of
Uh,
that society?
it was quite interesting because a lot of things were going on. There really wasn't the kind of money that was required to run that show properly, and I'm just glad that it's been moved on to an independent organization to look after. Because I guess, really, I tried to look at it from a business point of view of what it should be, knowing that the position I'm in just became harder and harder to be able to look at it from that perspective. More
Mm.
politics, I guess. So it eventually became part of a different organization. The Chamber of Commerce actually has it now, which is
Yes.
arm's length from the city and all that. So they're in a better place, I think, than we were personally, to turn it into something thriving.
Okay.
and it's a
Fair
very.
enough, I guess. But you did have like how long was that? Like a year or so?
I was on the board for about a year, year and a half, something like that, towards the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, now going back to the pandemic situation, how was Azalea? What did Azalea do to cope with the pandemic situations and the lockdown and the isolation? And how has business been affected? And how has business revised itself or reinvented itself?
Like everybody else, I cope by drinking myself senseless. Not true. Not
You're talking about drinking juice, right?
true. Drink a
And
lot.
kombucha tea.
Um, the only, I mean, it was bad. It was very bad, but we knew that because we were an online business anyhow, and that's where our sales is phone calls. We knew that we could stay open.
Oh, okay.
And we did, but we kept it very quiet because there was no point in making big announcements. We're still here because we knew everybody was scared and had no money and didn't know if they were going to have money. So we just stayed open and we managed to keep afloat. It was very hard. Don't get me wrong. Every day from mid-March until roughly just before Mother's Day, I was frightened how much longer we were going to be able to hang on. And then Mother's Day hit, and we just keep getting more and more sales.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty much back to where we were.
Okay. So do you have any employees aside from you and Pam?
No,
Okay.
no,
So that wasn't too much of a burden as far as that was concerned.
no, it wasn't a burden. We had a young fella here, Sumit Hundal, with
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know him.
Port Alberni Association of Community Living, right, PACL, and
Mm-hmm.
and I always want to do my little part in helping where I can. But when the pandemic hit, well, we can't social distance properly because of the
Mm-hmm.
way the store is laid out. Yeah, we could probably have done a lot of things to change that, but um, when you get used to a workflow and the way your store is set up, it's tough to change it.
Okay. So
So
now that things are slowly reopening and slowly getting back to normal, slowly, what is your fearless forecast as far as your wonderful Alberni Valley experience is in the coming days?
what? I'm sorry. What is my
What
forecast?
is your fearless forecast for
Oh, it's
your
gonna rain tomorrow.
sorry?
It's going to rain tomorrow. That's what a forecast is.
Well, I hope so. I'm too lazy to water. I'm too lazy to water my plants right now. I haven't had my soaker hoses properly laid out yet, so I hope it does rain tomorrow. But as far as your personal Alberni Valley experience is concerned, what is your forecast? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to just continuing to be me and stay in this little town and it get back to where it was pre-COVID. Um, and some of the futuristic things that, if they occur, um, could really help this town. Like I know the Sand Group with their new products. Um, Possibly some of these marijuana manufacturers could get going. Although I'm not really sure where that whole industry seems to be going right now, anyhow. So uh, outside, it might be going up in smoke for all I know. Uh, uh,
That's the best way to go for that industry. It has to go up in smoke.
so, um, I'd like to see, I'd being having my foot halfway in the door in technology and some great friends in Calgary who would get me a job in a heartbeat if I wanted it. Um, I really, and I've thought about this a lot over the years. I'd like to see a technology company um, get groomed
That is a great idea.
out here. Um, I know that, I've heard the same stories. We don't really have the type of buildings that they might want or all of the amenities at their fingertips. Airport, um, big shopping centers. But I don't necessarily think that is what's important, especially when you just got to go over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
All the big shopping centers you want, right? And we're so close to airports. Comox is there, Nanaimo's there, a little bit further, you're down in Victoria. It's a hop, skip, and a jump to Vancouver. To me, it's an ideal location. And technology is mostly young people nowadays, anyhow. And they're going to love to be outdoors. And this town is great with sports and outdoor activities. You know, everything from hockey in the winter to like softball in the summer. There's a lot to do if you put your mind to it.
Oh, definitely. And technology is seldom geographically dependent on,
Exactly. Yeah.
because technology is online. Technology is in the air, actually.
In I've worked remotely for businesses since I started this. The first time I worked for an insurance company in Newfoundland when I first got into technology, and my house was like a 3-minute walk to the office, and I spent most of my time in my house on the computer
Hmm.
instead of across the street.
And with the way things are going, anyway, with all this COVID stuff, I mean, more people are shifting to do stuff online anyway. Like, look at Amazon. Amazon stock tripled or, I don't know, quadrupled, all because everybody's shopping online now. They'd rather shop online,
Yep.
technology again, right? Instead of actually going to the store.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is a very good vision or a very good idea. I think Port Alberni can boom with technology and tourism and all that. Now we're on the letter T now. That's my name, Tecson. So technology, tourism,
Oh, by the way,
travel.
go back to the A's for a second.
Okay.
My first name is Alvin.
Oh, really? So Alvin Lyndon?
Alvin Lyndon Cassell.
So Lyndon is your middle name.
Yeah.
So too bad it's not a B like, Alvin Brian Castle, so ABC.
You know what? The history of Lyndon would be because before 1949, when Newfoundland joined Confederation, Newfoundlanders were more in tune with the United States. And
Okay.
that's where Newfoundlanders would go to work, was in the States. So I was born at the same time Lyndon Baines Johnson took over the presidency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
How old I am. Now, it doesn't matter.
No, but in my world, nobody's old. We're gold, not old. That's why it's called the golden years.
I'm far away from the golden years yet, baby.
Oh, there you go. See. Well, this has been a very interesting interview, and I'm sure there's going to be a very interesting conversation after this interview. But I got to wrap up, and I thank you, Lyndon, for taking the time to be with me. Finally, I was able to get an interview with you.
Sorry, I remember the first time I brought flowers over to the studio, you wanted me to do an interview right there, and I'm going, no, man, I got things to do.
Oh, of course.
I had not been in front of a camera for like 15 or 20 years outside of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually be in front of a television camera, I'm used to being behind the camera. And I've done a lot of productions. I would say probably close to 1,000, but that's all educational television. So the idea of actually getting in front of the camera was actually quite scary.
Well, there you go. But I hope I didn't intimidate you too much. I made you feel comfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
As is the goal of a host.
You're a wonderful host, Don, and I wish you all the best with the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
I expect to be on this show at least once every couple of months.
Okay. We're going to get an update on Lyndon's tourism and technology developments soon enough. But in the meantime, I have to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time on The Wave.